Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to the Steve and Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast, ruining pro wrestling since 2014. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for us to react to your hot takes from the world of wrestling with Backlash coming up this weekend. Of course, later on in the month, we've got Double or Nothing and another Saturday night's main event. Of course, this weekend, we will be doing our live watch-along and immediate review after Backlash. So be sure to join us for the watch-along and the review. Let's go ahead and dive into these hot takes, though, man. What's first?
First up from Bernard Hedspeth.
Yeah.
Says here, hot take.
Hot take.
The wrestling fan base is the worst fan base as a fan of other sports.
Okay. All right. Define worst. Like, I'm assuming most toxic, maybe?
I mean, yeah, I guess it would depend on your definition of worst, obviously. I mean,
They're
I don't
not
know.
the stupidest. There was recently a survey conducted by, howtobet.com,
Yeah.
that claims that, according to their study, WWE fans have an average IQ score greater than the NHL, NBA, NFL, MLB, and NASCAR. NASCAR came in dead last. Bunch of dummies who just like to watch cars go in circles.
Go usually just in ovals. Ovals, actually.
Enforcer would have appreciated me saying that.
Yeah.
So clearly we're the smartest because we like to partake in the fantasy stuff.
You know, when I first saw this, the first thing that popped in my head was I don't remember, like, riots involving, at least in recent memory, pro wrestling.
There's always a threat of a riot. If Cena wins, we riot. But I've
never an actual.
I mean, not recently. You know, I mean, in Puerto Rico, there's tons of stories about.
Yeah. I'm talking last 20, 30 years.
Okay.
I can't think of any, like, riots that have broken out over a pro wrestling match. Not to say it happens all the time with, like, soccer, but it happens.
Oh, with soccer? Yeah. No. Dude, no. Yeah. If we're going to expand to international football, it's gnarly. It is gnarly. That goes way. Go ahead and read a book called Amongst the Thugs.
Mm-hmm.
Or Among the Thugs. It is horrific, the fandom out there. And even gnarlier, some of the chanting towards certain players gets pretty gnarly as well. So they are far and away worse than WWE. So let's go ahead and already debunk this by using international football fans.
Okay.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I will say this. I do think that given that, and look, I know WWE fans, AEW fans, wrestling fans, they can definitely be toxic. And I know that wrestlers have had all sorts of horrible things thrown their way by fans. I do think, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but especially with the advent of online gambling, the rhetoric tossed at actual professional athletes
For ruining people's parlays, yes. Yeah.
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 I mean, I feel like that has kicked it up to a new level. All you have, like, I personally feel, and again, I don't have a lot of stats to back this up. I feel like WWE fandom is more in line with Star Wars fandom, whatever, Harry Potter. Yeah, exactly. Did you just call it pretend stuff?
No, entertainment stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said pretend, which is a great way of putting it. No, it's a good way to put it. With the pretend stuff, with entertainment. And I feel like sports fandom is kind of in a whole other level. Dude, people get into like fist fights over sports in the stands.
I was at a Dodgers game once, and there was a fight that broke out right against the railing of the second deck.
Oh, God.
Someone could have tumbled to their death. Been to a lot of wrestling shows. I've seen arguments. Don't think I've ever seen a fist fight at a wrestling show, though.
Dude, I get pushed on my...
that wasn't scripted to be on the show. I should say.
Yeah, right. I have been pushed, as you know, my Instagram Explorer feed is horrific. It's horrible. I have been pushed so many like sporting events, fights. It just happens all the time. So I'm gonna put some cold water on this one, man. I'm gonna pour this one out. This is a hot take because I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one here from B. York. Says hot take.
Hot take.
WWE releases are no different from being sent to the minors in any of the major sports.
Question for you.
Sure.
Because you're more in tune with the sports stuff than I am.
All right.
If I am in the professional league, if I'm in the top
Sure.
league, if I'm in the NBA.
Yeah, and you get sent down to the G League.
I get sent down to the G League.
Are you on a two-way deal?
Which one is that?
I think that's one where you're both in the G League and on the NBA roster.
No.
Okay.
Just sent down.
All right.
I'm still making money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not out of a job.
Mm-mm.
In the world of wrestling, if you're working for WWE and you get released, granted, there is, I think, for the duration of the no compete, you are getting paid.
Yeah,
but after that,
main roster, 30 days for NXT. Yeah,
you're not getting paid. There's no guarantee.
I guess when I saw this is how I interpreted this. Is the point trying to be made here is that if you work for WWE, not to say it's a guarantee, but there's a good chance you'll get signed on somewhere else if you get released.
Sure.
And none of the other promotions are at the same level of WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they could be construed as the minor leagues.
Yeah, sure.
That's how I interpreted this. To try to make the analogy. But you're right. If you're on a major league roster in baseball, well, football, there is no minor leagues. NFL has no minor leagues.
Right.
If you're on a major league baseball roster and get sent down, yeah, you still have a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and still have prospects of coming back up to the major leagues if you perform well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a one-to-one analogy, even if I interpret it as I just described. It's not even close to a one-to-one analogy. There's a lot of differences because there's been a number of people who have achieved a great level of success in WWE, got released, and try as they might, you haven't heard much from them in terms of actual wrestling thereafter, like Ryback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Try as he might to get back in the wrestling world. It's been, a number of years since he got released, and he is not signed on with anybody.
Yeah, I mean, dude, as you know, we had that great interview with Dijak not long ago, and as he illustrated, there ain't no safety net.
Mm-mm.
You're out there, and then you have to figure out once again, all right, now I got to deal with promoters. Now I got to help them promote my appearance because a lot of them don't.
Yep.
I have to make my own travel arrangements. All of a sudden, they don't have a system. They are their own system.
Yeah, whereas if you get sent to the binders, you're still in the system of that team.
Yeah, right.
They handle your travel.
Right.
They handle that stuff.
Yeah, so another one. We can mark off the list. Time for another hot take here from Bloodborne Survivor. Says the Yeet Encores have ruined wrestling.
Wow.
Far more than John Cena ever could. Monday night on Monday Night Raw. It was 10 minutes between with the video package to open it, the recap package to open it, and then Jey Uso's entrance. Gets on the mic, and before he says anything, he listens to the fans. They say one more time. He obliges. They do it one more time, and it's 10 solid until he's on that microphone saying word one.
Yeah. No, I don't think. I mean, obviously, the people in attendance at these shows would disagree with this hot take because they enjoy doing the yeet stuff. So, I'm going to put it this way. So much of WWE's live event experience is very much tailored to the television side of things.
Mm-hmm.
That if there's something there that the live crowd can enjoy doing that's specifically for them, I don't blame them if they want to do more of that.
Yeah.
Because, again, so much of how WWE presents Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views is so tailored to those of us watching at home as opposed to those there live.
Mm-hmm.
And over the course of a 2.5 hour Raw or a 3 hour SmackDown, you get 10 minutes to yeet, and that's the predominant means by which there is crowd interaction at this show for you and the performer that you like to share a communal experience. Have at it. Have at it. That's my attitude. So they're just doing this, eating a bunch. So what?
Hard to disagree with that take. I think that, look, bro, in December of 2018, you and I attended a Monday Night Raw double taping. Would you consider that fun, Larson?
No.
If you can capture the audience enthusiasm that yeeting and yeeting encores have captured, you run with it. You 1,000% run with it. Absolutely. Yeah. That being said, I understand this point of view. I understand the philosophy because it's like you're sitting there. Can you just get to it, please? Can you just get to it? I understand that. However, I think it's a good problem to have when you have an audience that have so become engaged with Jey Uso and the yeeting thing, and they're just there to have a good time. You see a lot of smiles on faces. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, wrestling, it's supposed to be fun, man. It's supposed to be engaging. Mm-hmm. And if you get that kind of excitement, it's hard to be like, no, we're not going to do this anymore. Yeah. You know, I would much rather continue that than another 7 months of what we saw at WrestleMania Night 2 in the main event.
I'd rather have 10 minutes of yeeting to start an episode of Raw than a 20-minute authority promo. Where they're just out there talking and not advancing a whole hell of a lot. Yeah. Because at least in the 10 minutes of yeeting, guess what? The crowd's enjoying themselves.
They are, yeah.
They're not enjoying themselves for a 20-minute authority promo.
Yeah, dude,
That was unbearable.
Yeah, that was unbearable.
Episode of Raw would start out with this long authority promo that, if you're lucky, set up a match on the show.
Yeah, if you're lucky, yeah.
But it was just like they were talking because they liked the sound of their voices. Mm-hmm. You know, it was unbearable at times.
It was.
It's so formulaic.
Yeah.
So yes, I'll take yeet over that any day. Hot take here from Lord Blake Whitehouse. Says, with the way Triple H books, we're never going to see an NXT talent get called up and be pushed to top 5 like Balor, Kevin Owens, and Paige were. I don't know.
So, okay, let me put it this way. I can definitely see somebody in the women's division in NXT getting pushed that way. 1,000%.
I could see Oba Femi getting that kind of push.
I will say this. I do not think there's anybody in the men's division that will, including Oba. I think that they are going to take the long road. I think with those guys, I think with the state of the men's division, it will take longer. We're not going to get a Kevin Owens. Or a Finn Balor, but I don't think you can look at a Stephanie Vaquer or Jordan Grace and say that they don't have a good shot at coming in and making an immediate impact. Roxanne and Julia are in a pretty damn good position right now,
feuding with the champion.
And I think that the way the NXT women's division is, I think that there's a couple names that we're going to see more of that. And I think there's some people out on the open market that if they come in, they'll get maybe that same treatment too. I think Thekla's recently wrapped up with Stardom. So I think that's a possibility. So yeah, I think there are some potential. There's some potential there because HBK focuses on the women's division. I think Oba is like the one guy that maybe, but I wouldn't give him great odds simply because the men's division on main roster is so deep. It's so incredibly deep.
Yeah.
And it's like with the women's division, it's like Io's huge, Rhea's huge, Bianca's huge, and there's other good names. But you look at that men's division, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of dudes in very prominent positions. It's just hard. I don't think there is like a Kevin Owens or a Finn Balor there, or a Nakamura for that matter, in NXT right now. I just don't. Not in the men's division.
Yeah, remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen. Anyways, man, we've been smoking through these hot takes.
Lightning
Larson.
round hot takes.
Lightning round hot takes. I like this format here. Anyways, we're gonna keep this train going. But first, we have ourselves a sponsor for the show this week, so let's go ahead and talk about them.
This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, Steve. And while more and more people are realizing the importance of taking care of one's mental health, there's still a lot of progress to be made.
A recent survey found that 26% of Americans have avoided mental health support due to fear of judgment. When people hesitate to get the help they need, it just doesn't affect them. It can also affect their friends, families, and their workplaces.
Yeah, that was definitely the case with me. My battles with severe anxiety in my mid-20s definitely affected my relationships with my family and my friends. And thinking on it now, I was probably slow to get treatment because I was worried about being judged. Eventually, I made the decision to go to therapy, and I'm glad I did because I was able to learn the skills I needed to cope with my anxiety and got my life in a much healthier and happier place.
With over 10 years experience connecting people with the right therapist from their diverse network of more than 30,000 licensed therapists, BetterHelp makes therapy far more affordable and convenient because it's entirely online. And you can change therapists at any time with no additional cost.
We're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/raw to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
All right, man, let's continue the speed round of lightning hot, fresh takes, whatever the fuck I'm saying. All right, this one's from Zondo. Says, Jay versus Seth was a waste of time. It only highlights how bad Backlash is as a Mania follow-up. Wait, what does Jay versus Seth have to do with Backlash?
Well, I think it's just I guess nothing directly, but I guess just the creative energies going into building Backlash, which to an extent kind of feels like a thrown together show. I understand.
Go ahead.
I understand the sentiment where you have a really good match and then it ends with a DQ or a wonky finish of some sort.
Man, what did I text you during this match, Larson?
I don't remember.
Something like...
a picture of you on that Star Trek thing?
Well, yeah, of course. But, no. Star Trek thing. No, I texted you... either Logan Paul or CM Punk are going to wonk this finish.
We were speculating who was going to wonk the finish. And we were both right.
And then you said, I thought it was Sami Zayn. And I wonder if he's going to have some of that rib tape. And then it was Sami Zayn with rib tape. And then CM Punk. And at the very end, after cameras rolling, Logan Paul.
We were both right.
We were both right. Yeah.
We were both right.
That being said, look, they did such a great job. Like, towards the finish, I was like, look, if they can get me towards the finish thinking, holy shit, are they really going to do this? That's crazy. This is what we're about to see is, wow, this second stop, he puts him back in there, second stop. I'm like, oh, God. And then the music hits for Phil. And it's like, okay, well, they're going to want this, but goddamn, they had me on a roller coaster ride. No. They opened up, getting away from Logan Paul, saying Jey Uso, the top guy on Raw, wants that top title. That kind of makes that top title something that people want. And Jey Uso a big deal now because Seth Rollins wants that title. And so let's have a match for it. Then it's like, holy shit, a world title match on Raw. They deliver an excellent match.
Yeah.
And had me thinking, anyways, this might happen. And then it didn't because they're setting up more stories and it's a huge return of CM Punk. I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with that. Ain't got nothing to do with Backlash.
I know, but the Backlash build hasn't been great either. That's a separate thing.
The crazy thing about the Backlash build, like all of a sudden last night, it was just, oh, by the way, we're getting this Intercontinental Championship match. Dom Mysterio versus Penta. It's like, man, nobody sat there and was like, hey, hey, brother, I want to make this official. It was just sort of happened.
It just sort of happened. I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I mean, there's two separate issues here to discuss. And you're right. I don't disagree with your assessment of the main event. I thought, given the quality of the match before the outcome, and I mean, going into it, the assumption is there's going to be some sort of wonk finish and someone's going to interfere. And I guess the idea that we don't have a decisive winner after such a great match in a vacuum, yes, I understand the disappointment there. but given all that happened, the various directions they could go, in the end, didn't mind it so much. I mean, I don't even know where to start with Backlash. I mean, have you seen anybody express any sort of measure of excitement about Backlash this weekend?
No, I mean, I think we're still on the WrestleMania hangover right now.
It definitely feels like they could have used an extra week.
Well, I'll put it this way. I do feel like them not going with Jey Uso and Logan Paul on the same card as Gunther versus Pat McAfee. That's a smart move. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So the card as it is, like we've got Cena versus, where's my little form here? We've got
Cena versus Orton.
Cena Orton, which is kind of going to be like, what is this match going to be? Lyra Becky has had a decent build.
That'll be a really good match. They're both really good wrestlers. So.
And it'll be a good match. McAfee versus Gunther, they sold me this week on that. I'm cool with that. Better than I was last week with it. The Fatal 4-Way for the U.S. title is going to be good. And then Mysterio Penta. I mean, it's going to be, this is a better card than I thought it was going to be going into it, like a couple weeks ago. Exciting? No. No, because we're coming off whatever shit that comes after WrestleMania is never exciting though. The Puerto Rico Backlash, it was like, oh wow, they're going to be in Puerto Rico. This is going to be really cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an international show, but Puerto Rico.
Well, last year they did Backlash from France. Yes. And
then last year they did the France was like, oh, you're going someplace. They got to stick to like just do the starved market shows,
the destination shows.
Every time I lump the Backlash Puerto Rico in with the international ones, we get Puerto Rico is not international. I know that.
Yeah.
But it was a starved market. And every time they do one of those, you got to do that after WrestleMania because it keeps the enthusiasm factor up.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. It does. Because they're doing what? Clash at the Castle in Paris this year, right?
And that's not a shot at St. Louis, by the way. I got flack over Wrestle Juice when I was like, the Backlash looks like it sucks. They're doing it in shitty St. Louis. I didn't say shitty. I was just like, you know what? They had the French one and the Puerto Rican one. Those are really huge shows. And I'm like, now they're going to St. Louis. It's a great wrestling town, St. Louis.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not exactly one of those shows.
Well, they're doing it. It's where Randy Orton's from. So that's
I
the
know.
entire reason they're booking this show in St. Louis.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Or predominantly the reason they're booking that show in St. Louis.
Let me ask you this. Well,
sure.
they're booking that match because they're in St. Louis. Or do you think they went to St. Louis
so that if they wanted that match soon after Cena won the title and wanted to have it in Randy's hometown, therefore they actually booked the date for Backlash May 10th in St. Louis for that.
Oh, that's possible. Yeah, sure. Sure, why not? Chicken and egg situation, Larson.
Who knows? Who knows? Anyways.
It's not really a chicken and egg situation.
Hot take from Trent Meehan.
Meehan.
Karrion Kross will be the breakout wrestler of 2025.
Larson, what month are we in?
It's May.
Was Karrion Kross on the American broadcast of
No, he was featured
night?
during a commercial break on the American broadcast, but he was featured in the international broadcast of Raw last night.
Yeah. I would love for this to happen. I'm begging for this to happen because I think he's great. And I think it's awesome that they didn't. I think they know they have something with him. I think they know they have something with him. It's figuring it out. And I don't know that they're going to do that before like the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
We're already 5 months deep.
I know Triple H likes to take his time with stuff.
Oh, boy, does he.
Sometimes takes his time too much, so it's entirely possible that we could have the same conversation early next year, Karrion Kross, breakout star 2026. And for that, I'd be like, yes, that seems much more likely and possible. But yeah, we're almost halfway through the year already. 6 months is a good chunk of time to make a major impression. But, he's got to start getting regular, consistent TV time of consequence, just not popping in and saying a few lines to AJ Styles or to Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
He's on the periphery of stories, and I get that's his character right now. He needs his story.
He does.
He needs to have his rivals and his feuds to develop his character arc.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of missing right now. Once that happens, then yes, we can have this conversation. And we like Karrion Kross a lot and really hope that he is given a more prominent role on the shows. But until that happens, I'm hesitant to say 2025. 2026, sure.
I will give Trent Meehan this amount, though. I do think 2025 is the year that the general fan base is going to start doing the thing with him, where everything he's in, everything he touches, people are starting to pop for him big time. And so I think this is where that starts to happen. Yeah. The groundswell is starting in 2025.
He needs a catchphrase that people could chant.
Give me a catchphrase idea.
Oh, gosh. Let me tick-tock, 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 tick-tock.
He kind of had one in his interview because I watched that thing on YouTube.
Yeah.
He said, I'm the devil you know.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what he said. That's a good one. Yeah, TikTok. He's got a couple catchphrases.
He does. He's got to catch on.
It needs to catch on as the catchphrase.
Yeah.
The crowd needs to start just doing everything, taking over every segment with TikTok.
Yeah.
Or we want cross.
Yeah.
I keep on wondering because he keeps on also punctuating a lot of his promos with they don't know what kind of killer I am. I wonder if they're going to rebrand him to Killer Cross.
That could be. You could just do this. You could do the whole thing. Tick tock, give us cross. Tick tock, give us cross.
That's great. I like that. It's really good. Let's go Cross. He's the best wrestler alive. I love Max Caster. Let's see. Next one from Sly Ratchet says Braun Breaker should beat John Cena.
John Felix Anthony Cena?
The one and the same. You think Braun Breaker should be that guy? In the words of Karrion Kross, Larson, tick-tock. Cena has all but...
About 8 months left?
Maybe 5 left in his title reign.
Matches, you mean?
No, maybe 5 months. He's not gonna retire a bad guy.
No.
And he's not going to. He'll lose the title, I think, in coordination with a face turn. Mm-hmm. So we're talking maybe Survivor Series, maybe even some.
That'll be about 6.5 months.
Okay, all right.
The Survivor Series.
All right, because like 10 months would be October, or 5 months would be October. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean we're looking between 4 and 6 months that he's going to lose that title.
And he's going to have after this upcoming Friday 26 appearances left.
Yeah, right. Now,
which is quite a bit, but
Braun Breaker, number one, he's on a different brand. They've established they're on Raw, and they want that Raw title. They're talking about kicking a guy to a different brand, to the Cena brand, which basically I think in the Heyman line of thought is we don't care about that brand. So number one, how does he get there? Maybe Money in the Bank, but still, you'd think Seth would want his guy on his show. Number two, this week on Raw was the first time Braun Breaker saw this. This was his shadowing day. You know, you go to a new job and they're like, okay, well, we don't have like formal training classes. Just shadow this guy. The trainer's out, so we're not going to do class. Just hang out with this guy. It's the best day of your career ever because you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You just like hang around. They tell you what's what. Get a lay of the land. That was Braun Breaker this Monday.
Yeah, yeah.
So he can't go from that guy to guy who dethroned Cena in 4 to 6 months.
No.
It's Triple H. What does he like to do?
Take his time.
Takes his sweet damn time. So maybe if John Cena came back in 2028, won the title, then Braun Breaker could beat him. They're going to do the evolution thing. It's going to be years.
Yeah, it is. And Braun going to have to feud with Seth Rollins either for the title he wins or preceding his title win.
That's going to be the thing.
So, you could probably make the case about, in a macro sense, why Braun should be the one to beat Cena. Think about it. Logically speaking, it's highly unlikely.
If you remove time from the equation, maybe. However, unfortunately, in this universe, with these laws of physics, don't think it can be done.
No. Canaldo Bruno, hot take, says R-Truth should have been in Travis Scott's spot.
I love this because if they were a little bit better at like how to tell stories, you could have done this beautifully. R-Truth, I really hope at some point we get a little bit of depth because he is the most loved character. Mm-hmm. And the story they could tell with him as it pertains to Cena could be majestic. It could be so good. And how great would it have been if he came out, if they had already sort of established, if they had set up R-Truth and they added a little bit more depth to the absurdity of his character, and he comes out to help out Cena and he helps Cena win. I know that's probably too goofy for them, and they want somebody cool from pop culture in this role with the Travis Scott. And I think Triple H wanted some continuity from the final boss to John Cena, and that was Travis Scott. But I think that this just, to me, I like this hot take simply because it illustrates that they could have something really cool there with Truth.
Yeah.
And they're not going to do anything with it.
No. There might be another interaction with Cena. There might be a thing where they try to get massive heat on John Cena by having him lay out R-Truth, something like that.
That's going to be the extent of it. Yeah,
but it's not going to be a situation where R-Truth is going to be given a featured spot to really get into the various dimensions of his character, which could have happened. Next hot take here from Armand
Berwin. Is that Berwinning or is that a different guy?
I don't know. Says Hangman Adam Page is the best character in wrestling right now. This isn't a hot take. This is a pretty cool take because this is one I 1,000% agree with. Adam Page has been one of the most, if not the most compelling characters in wrestling for years now.
They got to do something with him though.
Yeah.
Like the thing about AEW, let's sort of dovetail into this next hot take here. Go Bird says AEW stopped telling stories in favor of all-star tags, which has led to the recent high floor, low ceiling TV episodes. AEW just sort of stopped doing stuff. Like, nothing big has happened there recently. They got a couple of cool characters. They got Tony. They got Hangman. They got the best wrestling on weekly television. Mm-hmm. That I will grant them. But like in terms of like, I don't know, plot points and plot twists and stuff that's like keeps me captivated to the TV.
I have been doing that consistently for a long time.
Well, no, with some of the Death Rider stuff, like it or not. No, seriously, like it or not, they were like doing stuff. They were like trying to tell their own saga, and even that's really fallen off.
Yeah,
but like,
it wasn't good.
They were doing stuff like, you know, the big beats with Swerve and Hangman. That wasn't that long ago. Yeah. Those are big beats. The big beats with Tony Storm and Mariah May.
Consistently. I've been doing them consistently. It's not like a situation where there's several stories, even 3 or 4 that they can have that. Usually it relies on 1, maybe 2 at a time.
No, but look, the ones that I just mentioned were huge moments in 2024.
Yeah.
It's May. We haven't had any in 2025. They've just been going. And like, that's why like, there's not a lot of conversation around AEW these days. And it's like, whenever I turn on Dynamite, I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Well, there was a 4-week stretch there where it was pretty solid because it felt like they were trying to do stuff in the wrestling. Again, they rely not exclusively, but a lot on the quality of the in-ring product to sell their programming. And that's why it always kind of feels like with AEW when they have like, especially tournaments to focus on, to tell those little stories during the course of the tournament and focus on the in-ring action and telling those stories in the ring is when their programming is arguably at their best. But does that give us the huge sweeping moments? Not very often. I'll agree with that. I don't think that they're necessarily relying exclusively, even though it's been a lot more frequent of late. Even the All-Star tag this last week they were trying to motivate or tell some stories with that one, or at least enhance some feuds with the one with Kenny and Okada on opposite sides because they're facing off at All In. You know, it's little things they don't usually do on a consistent basis. Let's say they don't happen, those big moments. It's all the little things that add up for them.
Yeah, it's not terribly compelling stuff.
No, I'm not saying it is.
And Hangman has just been sort of like, I don't know, it's just moving at a glacial pace.
It is.
It's like, when is he going to do a thing? And I can appreciate...
If the assumption is that he's going to tag with Swerve at All In, they're going to have that huge moment with them.
Sure, I hope they do.
At some point.
Because it's kind of not happening.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's the best character in AEW. That's Tony Storm.
Yeah, Tony Storm.
For my money. Because like every time she's on, it's like she's doing something that is captivating even if it's like on commentary. I love Hangman. I think he's great, but it's like, fuck, can we move this along? Can we do something here, please? Yeah, I think AEW. Look, I think there was a lot of praise for AEW in 2024 because they had those big things. But yeah, it's like every week, it's like, oh, okay, more AEW. It's not bad. Got a high floor. See, the wrestling's good, but it's like, give me something. The most telling thing is like, how long has it been since I've done like an AEW thumbnail? Because nothing big ever happens.
Yeah.
And it's been like 5 months of this year that it's like been that. And they just seem to be cool with that. So.
Well, if that's the case, give us more $400,000 explosive tag matches.
I mean, honestly, that's what they're lacking is more of those.
More winning purses for the team that wins these all-star tags.
Please, yes.
Hot take here from Lance Gilmore says women's division is so stacked we will see 2 women's matches close both nights of Mania in the next 5 years.
So between now and 2030. I wouldn't bet any money on it. But given that... Okay, let me ask you this.
Sure.
Let's go this route. In 2030, 5 years from now,
yeah,
who's going to be holding down the main event for the men?
It'll be people like Braun Breaker. Think he'll be up there.
Well, let's take off some names. No Roman.
No Roman. Maybe no Punk.
Definitely no Punk.
No Punk. Seth will still be around.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Seth will still be around. No Cena, obviously. Cody will probably still be around.
Cody will probably still be... Like, here's the thing. Seth and Cody... I'll put it this way. Drew, yes. You're probably going to lose... Well... Sammy might be on, like, a WrestleMania schedule at that point. You've already maybe lost Owens. Orton got to be on a WrestleMania schedule. At that point, Orton's the Undertaker.
I don't know, man. He seems really into it right now. He could be showing up for 50 dates in 2030 for all we know.
He's not even main eventing Mania now, though.
No.
Oh, let's look at the main event then. Let's look at the main event from this year. There's like two names, Cody and Seth, maybe.
Yeah.
And those are kind of maybes. Cody probably. So then it's like, I don't know. Braun.
Got Braun.
Who else you got?
I'll just throw some names out. Braun, Bronson Reed, Gunther. Gunther would be around in 5 years.
Gunther should be around in 5 years.
Penta. Rusev. Let's see here. Carmelo.
Hopefully.
Obafemi, Trick Williams.
Yeah.
You mentioned Drew. Jacob Fatu.
Now stack that up against...
Oh, I know.
Who we got now? Rhea's young.
Bianca.
Bianca's going to have staying power.
Io.
Roxanne. Julia.
Stephanie. Jordan
Grace. I think there's a possibility that ceiling 5 years from now is higher than the men's.
Absolutely. I think that is a distinct possibility. And it's a situation that I'd love to see happen. And hopefully it does. And yeah, as just laid out here, I think it's a distinct possibility. Yeah.
I wouldn't put money on it, but I also wouldn't bet against it. I'm not a gambling man anyway, so I just wouldn't.
No, you're not. I've never seen you gamble real money.
Wouldn't put any money anywhere, really. So anyways, here's a hot take. I like this one from Atticus. Atticus says, 2019 is not the worst year in WWE history. 2011 is. Heel Michael Cole, WrestleMania 27, and The Miz as WWE Champion are just a few examples. And before you counter with CM Punk becoming an icon, just remember how poorly the summer of Punk was handled. I will say this. This is actually a really good one.
Yeah.
It feels like 2011 had kind of like two sides to it, maybe two halves. Because I think with WrestleMania, heel Michael Cole was done with.
No.
Shut up. Really?
No, because it was after that John Cena had that match with him, and he's like a couple weeks after that and poured barbecue sauce all over him. Heel Michael Cole didn't end until Lawler.
Was Laurinaitis around in 2011?
What's that?
Was Laurinaitis around in 27? Or was that 2012?
I don't remember, but heel Michael Cole didn't end until Lawler had his heart attack.
Oh, that's right. Wow.
Because you remember Punk wins the title at Money in the Bank, is gone for a while, comes back, loses to Triple H after beating Cena again at SummerSlam to unify the titles.
Yeah. Yeah. John Cena versus Laurinaitis. That was 2012. Boy.
But he was around in 2011.
Those were some dark times.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, like...
So it was after SummerSlam 2011 where Laurinaitis started being featured more regularly on TV.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Alberto cashed in at SummerSlam.
Maybe more consistent. Ah, boy. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Like, the complete and total... I will offer this. 2011 had a better single moment with the pipe bomb, with the Money in the Bank match, than 2019 did. It probably had lower lows than 2019. You got to think 2019 was more consistently bad, though. Like, it was so inept.
I don't know.
The 2019 WrestleMania wasn't that bad, though.
No.
It was a pretty
35.
good WrestleMania.
No, that's pretty
35
solid.
was a good
It was really
WrestleMania.
long, but there was some huge moments at Mania 35.
Kofi Mania, the women main eventing, Seth Brock. Yeah, there was some good stuff there.
Yeah.
Boy, yeah, I don't know. I tend to think 2010 is probably worse than 2011.
That's
Boy.
the guest host era.
Yeah.
That's what people keep saying. I wasn't really watching wrestling then, so
You weren't missing much. Tell you what, you probably wouldn't have. You've been like, pro wrestling podcast. What the hell? Why would I
I'm
do
shocked
that?
that WrestleMania 27 is the show that got me back into wrestling.
It is pretty crazy.
It's wild. Darius the Great has a hot take. If Shawn Michaels ever brought up to the main roster creative team, he should be put in charge of women's creative since Triple H is not great at it.
You know, here's the thing, though. I don't know if Shawn Michaels is necessarily just really good at only booking women, or he just doesn't have a great pool of men to book them well also. Same with the tag division. The tag division always seems like it's in a state of like rebuilding. You know, it's like
What, NXT or on main roster?
NXT. You know,
I don't know. You could say the best story they told in 2024 was with Fraxium.
yeah, I know, but we talked about this before. Aside from them, what's going on in the tag division? You know,
Honk honk, man.
Okay, all right, come on now. I thought we were being serious here, Larson.
We are serious. Honk honk, Hank and Tank.
No, man.
No quarter catch crew.
I like them. I like them. Yeah. I think a little bit more establishing needs to be done with them. But no, I don't know. I'd be interested to see what just like HBK would be as. I do think that if him and Triple H, if they became like, you know, a collaborative team, or just give like SmackDown to HBK.
Yeah. I guess in one sense, it'd be interesting to see what Shawn Michaels could do from a creative standpoint without having the worry of people being called up at a moment's notice.
I agree. Yeah.
Well, like, could he plot out a 2-year story with somebody and have it finish in a satisfying way?
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what's really missing from NXT. Are those really long-term main event level stories?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if he had an opportunity to do that, what could he do? I'd be really excited to see that.
I agree. Yeah. No, I agree, man. Yeah.
Last one here, of course, is our grunge hot take.
Awesome.
Josh Frankel says Pearl Jam is the most overrated of the big four grunge bands, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, and Soundgarden, are all far superior. Pearl Jam just gets love because they're still around. Other bands, the lead singers are gone.
All right. So let's try to make this a little bit more fair.
Sure.
Cobain passed in 94.
Mm-hmm.
So Nirvana had Bleach, Nevermind, In Utero. Okay, so the first three albums.
Yeah.
I mean, Soundgarden had, basically Bad Motorfinger, Super Unknown, and then what was the last one?
Well, they had a couple albums that preceded.
No, I know, but like,
You talk about Down on the Upside?
Down on the Upside, yeah.
And then Alice in Chains had Facelift, Dirt, and then the one after Dirt.
Yeah.
With the dog on the cover.
Like, if you take those three, like each of those, like the three grunge era albums from each of those bands, Pearl Jam had 10 Verses and Vitalogy. Those are pretty good. Those are all three pretty damn good albums.
Yeah.
You can't fault a band for a dude not dying. I mean, it's I know Soundgarden, they just broke up.
Yeah.
But and Cornell didn't pass till a couple of years ago, but but I don't know. I think all that output there until 94, it was all pretty comparable. And this is from a guy saying, I think Pearl Jam's his fourth best, my fourth favorite grunge band.
Yeah.
But I think those, like all three albums, the main three albums from that era, I think they're all pretty comparable to each other.
Yeah, I mean, like there's in a lot of respects, Pearl Jam's legacy score has gone down quite a bit because their output post, even if you're generous, say post Yield, hasn't been great.
If they had stopped after Vitalogy, their legacy would be through the roof. Mm-hmm. If something had happened to them, their legacy would be.
Yeah, they just broke up. They were like the pressures of being the most popular band in the world is too much, and just broke up.
Their legacy would be through the roof.
Yeah,
they get helped because, they get hurt because they just stuck around. Mm-hmm. And like their music is shit now.
Yeah, it's just mid-tempo dad rock.
It has been
now.
for for over 20, almost 30 years. It's been like mid.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and I don't know what Nirvana 2025 would have sounded like.
No idea.
Or Alice in Chains 2025. Soundgarden had an album, 10 years ago or whatever.
Well, Jerry Cantrell got Alice in Chains back together with a new singer.
Yeah, I know.
So, I guess you could use that as a basis for what Alice in Chains would sound like relatively recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Had Lane Staley not passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, given Pearl Jam's longevity and the fact that their music now is not very good, kind of... people don't remember the influence that they had at their peak.
Yeah.
And it was pretty huge back in the day.
Yeah.
Remember them testifying before Congress because of Ticketmaster and their exorbitant fees.
And the great thing is, if you see how that played out in 2024, their ticket prices were really affordable if you're a fucking billionaire.
Yeah. Yep.
What was it, like $400 for just normal tickets?
I think it was $800 for floor seats.
Jesus Christ.
It's ridiculous. $200 or something just if you want to be in the lower bowl. This is in Sacramento.
They don't need all that money.
No,
they could have done
wealthy beyond compare.
I know.
I used to see them for $40.
I know. They could have gone out on tour on their own terms. $100 a ticket. Max.
With fees.
$500 VIP, limited amounts.
Sure. I think that's kind of like a necessity for an arena tour these days. It's the added value of all the VIP experiences.
Yeah.
But it's $800 to sit the back of the floor, to stand the back of the floor and barely see anything, pass.
Hard pass.
$200 to sit in the lower bowl to hear him play 5 songs from new record, pass.
And they played Lucan on one of their runs.
They opened with Lucan. They opened.
I got to sit here for 45 seconds and listen to Lucan, and that's one of the songs you're giving me? Like,
This
there's
is
only
supposed to
limited
set the
numbers of
mood?
songs.
This is supposed to set the mood for me and me enjoying this Pearl Jam show. You chose to open with Lucan?
You're opening with Lucan?
Really? Nah. I remember the first time I saw him, you know what song they opened up with, Steve?
Oh,
Oceans.
Great. Oh, wow.
Talk about setting the mood. San Jose Event Center, 1993.
Hey, let me get your take on this.
Sure.
I had a friendo in my Wrestle Juice try to drop a Pearl Jam hot take.
Mm-hmm.
And I did say, I said, hey, listen, man, this isn't the place for that, but I'll address it. You got to do that over the hot take stuff at Going in Raw. Said Once is Pearl Jam's best song.
It's not even the best song on the A side of 10.
What do you think their best song is? Several people, including me, think that, and for me, obviously there's a tinge of nostalgia because this song did help me get through my first breakup. But Black is the all-time Pearl Jam song. But Once, if you revisit that song, holy shit, that song goes so fucking hard.
That's good.
I don't think it's an out-of-pocket hot take is my point. Indian summer and I hate the heat. I got a backstreet lover in the passenger seat. I got my hand in my pocket so I turn my screen up. That song is hungry as fuck. That song might be their hungriest song.
Not Garden? Like Garden should have been a warning. This is the direction they're headed.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
It's mid-tempo.
What's the one best song?
I'm trying to think of the song that best encapsulates the Pearl Jam experience.
Up until 1994?
Obviously.
What best encapsulates them from 2010 to 2025?
Oh, gosh. The Target album.
The Target album. Exactly. No, the fuck's on there.
That's the one with the avocado on the cover? No. It was Backspacer was the Target album, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Backspacer. Doesn't that even sound like something in the retail industry? Hey, can you go grab the Backspacers off the toy shelf?
It's like, how do you counter shrink at a retail outlet?
Yeah, good Backspacers.
Oh shoot, hold on. Let me look up the track list for 10 again.
All right. It's Once, Even Flow, Alive. The one in between, Deep, I think, is next, and then is Black, and then is Jeremy. Oh no, to the sir. Oceans.
I have to separate myself from how kind of tired I am of this song.
Yeah, sure.
Alive is kind of the quintessential Pearl Jam song. It is.
Alive is definitely the best of the singles.
And it's the song they're probably most known for, maybe. I've heard it way too many times. I'm tired of it. If it comes on the radio, I change the station.
If somebody gave you 10 today and you had not heard any of the songs, you think Alive would be the one that you're like, this song here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Alive.
Okay.
Or State of Love and Trust.
Oh, it's great. State of Love and Trust. It's kind of cheesy, though. But I love that song. No, I love the song. Don't get me wrong. I love the song. Yellow Ledbetter is a hell of a song, too.
Yeah.
I see the case for Once. That song.
It's a
that
good
song.
song.
That song
It's a great album track. It is.
That song is. Boy, I'm angry because I haven't been eating ramen. I mean, now I'm in I was in L.A. or San Diego, wherever Eddie was from. San Diego. Now I'm in rainy ass Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, once upon a time, I could get some beach tacos. Anyways.
Yeah, I'll go with Alive. I think Alive's the one.
There you go. I'll be honest, surprised by that one. I don't know. Because I didn't think you'd say it.
What were you going to think I was going to say?
I legitimately don't know.
Some B-side, some.
Yeah, I know. You're so annoying sometimes. You're just like, well, there was this, there was a track.
The quintessential Pearl Jam song is Dirty Frank, Steve.
How could I forget about Dirty Frank?
Come on.
Oh, man. Anyway, this is going to do it for the show today.
What am I thinking? The quintessential Pearl Jam song's Lucan. That's what they open with.
It's Lucan! I want Lucan! Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.